So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to style HTML buttons using CSS. So if you add a button to the body tag, it's going to look like this by default. So you see I have a button here, and let's give it a class name. All right, so it's always a good idea to give it a class name. So I'm going to name it my button. So my button. All right, so this is going to be the name of this button. All right, or the style that I'm going to apply it is going to be applied through this name. So inside of the head, I have the style tag. So right here, I'll be able to add CSS. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select that button. So I'm going to say dot because I have used class. You see, I have used a class. So I'm going to say dot and then my btn, my button, and I'm going to open two curly braces. So you see sometimes you might see some suggestions. It's okay, don't worry about it. I will teach you one by one. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background color of this button. So like when you change the background color of any element, you just say background dash color, and then you add any color you want. So I'm going to type in green. All right, but you see it's really dark. I don't want this green. I want a lighter green. So in VS Code, if you hover over this box, it will show you the color box. So I'm going to just click on this color, maybe like that. All right, so you see we have added a background color to that button. So now we will take a look at the button. You see, if we take a look at the button, you see we have this border around it. So sometimes you might not want to have that default border. So you can say border basically colon and none. So when you do this, as you see, it will just get rid of that border around it. So you don't have to use every property that I'm using, but I'm just showing you how you can use these properties to style your buttons. All right, so that was how to remove the border, and you see we can change the color. So you see the color is black right now. We can change it to something else. For example, if you can say color green or light green, you see the color is light green now. But that's how you can change the color or the text color of a button. So you just say color and then you add a color name, or you can use the color wheel like I do here. It's up to you, but I'm going to basically change it to black. So color, we say black. So black. All right. Okay, so we have that there. Now, sometimes you want to make a button more like rounded corners. So if you want to add round corners to a button, you can use the border dash radius. So border dash radius colon, and then you, for example, 15 pixels. So as you notice, when you do this, it will add some rounding to it. So you see it has rounded this side and the right side. Now, if you want to only add the roundness to one side of the button, you could use this property. For example, border dash top dash left radius, and then you add a colon and let's say 10 pixels. So you see we only have added that, we have added some. So let me zoom in even more so you can see it even better. So you see we have added that roundness to the top left, and this is another trick that you can add. You could say, for example, border dash bottom dash left dash radius. You could say, for example, 15 pixels, 15 pixels. So you see we have made it even look nicer now. And of course we can change the font size of it. So let me go with 25 pixels. All right, so we have added the font size to it. If we want to add some empty space around it, we can use padding. So padding, for example, 5 pixels. You see we have added some padding around it, and let me add even more, 10 pixels. You see that it will have even more space around the text, all right, inside. So it's from, so padding is always uh, between the edge of the button and the text, all right? So that's how you do it. Right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to show you how you could change the cursor. For example, when I hover over this button, you see when I hover it, I want something to change. Because you see it's kind of dull. Even when I click on it, it doesn't show me anything. So we are going to use that class name again. So dot my button. But now we are going to say colon hover. So whenever I hover over this, all right, I want to change the background color to a different color. So let me just change it to a darker color. Okay, so now if I hover it, you'll notice that it gets dark, but my text stays the same. So I'll have to change the color of the text here. All right. I added hashtag FFF for white. So if I hover it, you'll notice that it changes the color. So now we have a sense of hovering, or it's more interactive and it looks a lot nicer than not having this hover here. So it's always a good idea to use a hover. So you see my pointer is the same, but I can change the cursor to something else. For example, I can say cell, all right? Let's say cell. When I hover it, it will become a cell. So this is how you can change the cursor. Or I could say, for example, pointer. It will be like a hand that points on it, all right? So this is a nice one, all right? So send message, you see, it's like a hand that points on it. And this is basically it. So these are some of the properties that you can use to style a button in CSS. And you don't have to use all of these properties. For example, you may not want to remove the border around it. You can get rid of that. As you see, it will add the border to it. Or you may want to add a border to the top. So border dash top. You could say, for example, 2 pixels solid green. All right, so you see it adds to, some border to the top of it, and you may not see it because I only used 2 pixels. So let me change it to 25 pixels. You see, it's ridiculous because I have used a lot of pixels. So let me reduce the pixels to maybe 11 pixels. So you see now we have that there, and you can change the color of the border to whatever you want. All right, so you see we have added border top to it. For example, you can change it to border dash left if you want to apply the border only to the left side of it. You can change it to border dash bottom, so bottom. All right, colon. You see we have that nice border there. Maybe 11 pixels is still high, so let me go with 6 pixels. So you see we have a nice solid color underneath our button. And let me change the color to maybe light yellow. So you see we have that there, and you can change it to whatever color you want. All right. So it's up to you. I mean, you don't have to use all of these, but to change the background of it, use background dash color. To add some border around it, you can say border. If you don't specify dash right dash left, it will simply apply it to all of it. So you see, now I said border colon 6 pixels solid and this color RGB 1114. All right. So you see it has added the border all around my button. Now going to the padding, you see this is the empty space between the edge of the button and the text itself. So I have added padding 10 pixels. If you don't want it, you can get rid of it. You see it will be like this, but I like to add some padding to it because you see our text will have more room there. And the font size, it's always a good idea to change the font size. And you can say border dash left radius to add roundness to the bottom. For example, if you want to add a little curve to the top left, you can use this property that says border dash top dash left radius. Remember, this is not the border, this is the radius, all right? Um, yeah, so now there is one more property that I'm going to show you, and that's the font family. So font dash family, you can change the font family to, for example, Arial, Helvetica Sans Serif. So you see we have changed the font to Arial. We can change it to another one to, for example, Times New Roman. It's up to you which font you want to use. Some people use Google Fonts. It's a nice idea. It's a good idea to use Google Fonts. So this is basically it about how to style buttons using CSS. But there is one more thing that I want to mention. Right here, you see I have a button here. It says send a message. Let's see that I have another button underneath it. So another button. If I add another button now, so now we're going to say reset. All right, so let's say that this is a reset button. But you see right now, when I add this button, you'll notice that it has the default styling. It doesn't have my styling. So if you want to apply the same styling to this button as well, you can basically copy the class, all right? So you can copy this class and apply it to this button as well. So you'll notice when you apply that, it will add the same styling to both of them. And now if you make a change to this, let's say that I don't want the border, so let me get rid of the border. All right, so you see I have that there. It has removed the border for all of them. So I mean, I have not applied any borders now. So it has this default border around my buttons. All right. So yep, this is it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next videos. I'm out.